As his driver pulled up in his sedan, Baca gave me a final once-over, as if still not certain what to make of me. Then he shook his head and, getting into his car, said, "You got Hollywood fluff, like Marilyn Monroe was murdered. That's what you got. But that's good. That's what sells books." Baca retired in 2014. In 2017, a jury found him guilty of obstructing an FBI investigation into inmate abuse in Los Angeles County jails. He was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. Before a packed courtroom, a U.S. district judge told him, "Your actions embarrass the thousands of men and women who put their lives on the line every day. They were a gross abuse of the trust the public placed in you. Blind obedience to a corrupt culture has serious consequences." I found Baca contemptuous and condescending that day in 2005. He did, however, make good on his offer to me, putting me in touch with the head of his detective division, Commander Robert Osborne, who was the closest thing LASO had to an expert on informants. I gave him my song and dance, well rehearsed by then, and while he found it unlikely that Manson had ever informed for his office, he said it was possible for a federal agency to call and ask for one of its informants to be released from LASO custody. In such cases, they'd call the investigator. The captain would be uninvolved. It's possible that a phone call was made, yes, but what benefit would be gained by keeping it a secret forever? The theory that somebody asked them to do something different than the norm is not implausible, he admitted, though I don't know why they wouldn't tell you. I can't imagine why they would want to keep it a secret. I don't see anything to be gained, if in fact there was some other agency involved in 1969 or 2005 to keep that quiet. Unless I thought it resulted in the murders of innocent people. I sensed this was the closest thing to a concession I'd ever get from the LA County Sheriff's Office. I thanked Osborne for his time and went on my way. This is what desperation does to a writer. I knew that Gunther would be enraged if he learned that Baca had called him and Whiteley incompetent. I wondered if this might be what would finally get him to break the code of silence. The fact that he, one of the most legendary detectives in LASO history, had been denigrated by the head of his former office. I didn't have the heart to tell him, but I did tell one of his friends, who was understandably outraged. I had a hunch he'd share it with others, including Gunther, but it still took me 6 years to call him. When I did, he sounded tired and defeated. Not like the Charlie Gunther I remembered. He still had a funny way of calling me by my full name in conversation. "I want to close the door on that, Tom O'Neill," Gunther said. "I want to end it with you." Lee Baca kind of upset me. Our conversation is over. I apologized and explained why I didn't think he was incompetent, and why I was sure that anyone who knew his record didn't either. But it didn't break the wall. 20 years I did this, he said quietly, referring to his time in homicide. Baca said I'm incompetent. I just wanted to finish. Hell, I'm 83 years old. I just want to write the truth about why those murders happened, I said. I know what you're saying, Tom, and I'd ask you to accommodate me. This is over 40 years ago, and I'd like to be out of it. Please, Tom O'Neill. I have no squabbles with you. I'm totally done. Gunther died in 2014. I was heartbroken by the frailty I heard in his voice that day, and I was confused. In the throes of my obsession with the case, I couldn't understand how such a celebrated detective would want to shut the door on it, to lose his drive to get to the bottom of it. But that was when I assumed I'd soon shut the door myself.